Hello and welcome, I am the Sterling and today we'll be playing Timberborn. In the last episode, we went and built a whole heap of excavators and storage to house all the dirt. But we've run into a major problem. We're not producing enough timber bots. And in this episode, we're going to rectify this. So sit back, grab a cold one and let's get started. Right, so I'm not producing enough timber bots. Yes, we've established this. At the moment, I'm producing about 150. I've decided I want to double this. And on top of all this, in this episode, I want to take all this industry and finally jam it in here. Starting, obviously, with the bots. That's what I let in with. But to do this, I'm going to have to make some bloody room, aren't I? So the first thing I'm going to do is make a bit of space right here for where I can start putting in the new industry. Dynamite's in. Now all I have to do is make space. Space made. Now we can start planning out the new timberbot production. But first I need to unlock large warehouse for 250 science. The medium warehouse's capacity is 200. The large warehouse is 1200. Significant difference. Let's unlock that now. Done. It will cost 60 logs and 80 planks to build. But guess what? Don't need to use it just yet. But it's nice to have it in my back pocket because I will be using it. So now, how is this build going to look? Well, I'm going to need 3 industrial piles, 4 warehouses, 3 bot part factories, 2 bot factories, 3 gear factories, 1 smelter, and 2 industrial lumber mills. And then I need to double it. The first thing we need to do is add terrain blocks down here. Done. Then a row across the back, just like so. I then need to add a double row of platforms, a medium warehouse, followed by 3 large industrial piles, and then another 2 row of single level platforms, before finishing it off with another row of terrain blocks. These industrial piles and warehouse will house the resources needed to make the components for the bot part factories above. Next, we have to add 3 large warehouses and then 3 bot part factories, just like so. I need to cap the end with terrain blocks, then run a row of double layer platforms down the back and 2 single layer platforms either side. Now for the fun part, I need to add a smelter, 2 industrial lumber mills, 3 gear factories, 2 bot assemblers, and a control tower in the middle, just like so. And now all I have to do is add stairs everywhere so we can get to it, and then double it and put another version on this side here. But other than that, there's nothing left to do but hit play and let them get to work building it. Fantastic. That's now our bot industry complete. Now we can actually double this again in this section here when we actually need more bots. But for the moment, this is all we're going to need. Which if you didn't notice by the state of how laggy that time lapse was, the game is really starting to hate me. The population is pushing it a little bit for just one district. And so I'm going to have to take steps moving forwards to actually fix this. The first step is I'm going to have to bite the bullet and drop the population of beavers to make room for more bots. Now this will help by 1, not having so much population running around messing with me lag, and 2, we won't have to produce so much food and water. And then later on when we start building metropolis, then I can start rebuilding the population of beavers. But also what I can do is finally separate the industry to its own district, which I was actually hoping I wouldn't have to do right now. As to be perfectly honest with you, it's going to be a pain in the butt. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is clear some space. Luckily, we don't need all this anymore. Fantastic. Now that's nice and clean. Well, I don't think clean is actually the word I'm looking for, but there's no longer buildings there. Though unfortunately, I've had to break the power connection to the rest of the settlement. So before I do anything else, I better reconnect this ASAP, just like so. Now they'll build that and we'll have power back to the rest of the settlement. Though this connection right now is still very much only temporary. I'm going to need to start juggling a few things and moving a few things around and getting it ready for us to disconnect this from the district. So I'm going to clean up this mess, start filling in this gap, and give us a nice clean slate to start working with so we can separate this district. Day 4 of cycle 70. I've reconnected the power and I've done a bit of housekeeping. I've also begun emptying certain storage buildings to get them out of the way. This will be the next one I delete. And I've blown a channel down here in preparation for what I have next. So what's next on the agenda? Well, I'm going to need to start raising this area here and leveling this area here. So first of all, let's get rid of these stairs as they're in the way. And then I'm going to need to run terrain blocks across here, just like so. Next, these stairs and that path is in the way. As you guessed it, they need to be gone. And then I need to fill in this gap here and this gap here. And then I need to run some dynamite here. And then a whole heap across here. Once these tanks are empty, I'll also delete them. Now, obviously, these industrial piles, these warehouses are all in the way, so I'm going to have to start moving them around. Until I build a decent storage facility, I'm going to just start once again dumping everything in this area here. And I'll say it again, I'm going to have to do a lot of juggling. Honestly, I would have preferred to have moved things into this area first and then separated the district, getting all this crud out the way to make this a hell of a lot easier. But the game has forced my hand. So there's nothing left to do but hit play and let them get to work. And there we go. Now, once again, I'd like to say that's much cleaner, but it just ain't. Look at all the rubble everywhere. And I can't pick it up. At this very moment, I just don't have room for it. And I'll end up having to build some ridiculously large amount of temporary space to house it. And it's just not worth the time. So I'm just going to be a dirty boy for a moment and leave it all just laying around. How are we going to make a separate district? Well, we need to come down here to district management and we need to unlock the district crossing for 600 science. It will cost 30 logs and 15 planks to build. Let's unlock that now. Done. So what we do is we build it like so. I've conveniently placed it right in the middle of the power station. Once this is built, I'll then be able to segregate the beavers from the bots. I'll also then have to tell it what resources I want to import, export, and then on top of all of this, I'm then going to have to set this district up to have its own haulers, its own builders. There's actually quite a lot that's going to go into setting this up, but I'll show you that in a moment once I've built it. And there we go, it's built. Now, to make the district crossing operational, there's actually a couple of things I need to do. The first thing I need to do is break the connection between the two districts. So now the only way that the beavers and bots can actually transfer between the two districts is via the district crossing. Problem is, now that there is actually only one district on the map, because there's only one district center, which I've named beavers. The industry side of the district now also needs a district center. For the moment, I'm just going to be lazy and plop it in right here. Done. And I'm going to name it bots. Fantastic. So now there is two districts, the industry and the beavers. For the moment, bot labor is actually going to be shared between the two, as bots will still need to farm for the beavers and to cut lumber for the beavers. So as you know, moving forwards, I want to actually build multi-level farms and forests, which will also be completely run by bots. But for the moment, I still need bots in this district. So now with the district center, I'm going to switch the workforce over to bots. That way, all the builders in this district center will be bots. And we'll set it to 4. Next, I have to actually set up the district crossing. This is where I can actually set up what I import and export through the two different districts. I do this by clicking on the Manage Distribution tab here under Import Goods, and then I can switch between the two different districts. As you can see here, we're under beavers, and then that's bots. Now, under the distribution tab, I can actually go ahead and tell them how much I want to import and export. I can physically do this by moving the slider across. As you can see here for bot chassis, I can move it across to export 100% or all the way down to export 0. Or I can come across here. There's 3 different tabs. Do not import, import if needed, import always. I'm going to leave it all as import if needed. That way, the 2 districts will freely transport goods. Now, if I come over to the bot district, I'm going to go ahead and tell them not to import any food because I don't need any food. Just like so. Probably shouldn't do it to logs, should I? Now, in the future, if I start manufacturing food on the bot side, then I'll have to adjust this. But for the moment, this will do. Now, I'm going to have a bit of a play with all this and level everything out and just make sure that I haven't made any mistakes. Now, if I click on the bot side of the district crossing, the first thing I'm going to need to do is unlock the workplace for bots. Just like so. Now this district crossing will work as a bit of a hauling post. I'll still need to build builders huts to replace the district centre and hauling posts, but when it comes to import and export, now that is complete. Now back under the manage distribution tab, if I go to migration, now I can actually tell the different districts how much of each population I actually want. I can also set it up to a minimum of how many of each I need in each district. I don't need to touch the beaver city just yet, but the bots district, I need to set that up. As of right now, there's actually no bots in the district, but there is 111 jobs vacant. So I need to keep a minimum of 111 bots at all times in the district. So now I've changed the minimum to 111 bots. Now the bots will start traversing over into that district, and as I build more things in the bot district, I will then change that number. As there's no food or water in the bot district, obviously I don't want any beavers in here. Hence, I need to start now building builders huts and hauling posts to manage this area. But as I said, as time goes on, I'll be playing with the district crossing, managing just how much I import and export, especially as I start moving all of our industry into the area, which that's what I'm going to do now. So the next industry I'm going to move into the new bot district is explosives. As of right now, it's still being made in the beavers district. I've also gone ahead and built a hauling post and a builder's hut for the new district, as I needed haulers for the bot manufacturing. I've already gone ahead and adjusted the migration accordingly. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is once again start leveling some of this ground. Fantastic. Now we're ready to start building the dynamite factories. Now, as you saw, I had to put in another 2 builders huts as just the one was not enough. I've become accustomed to having a large amount of workforce building things for me, and 4 bots working around the clock just doesn't cut it. Though already the game is running so much better. So I'm really glad that I've gone ahead and segregated the 2 different districts. First thing I need to do is run terrain blocks and then go ahead and add large warehouses to store the dynamite. I'm going to have 6. That should be plenty. Now, on this side, I'm going to have 3 centrifuge and then 5 explosive factories on this side, just like so. And then, just when you think that's enough, I'm going to level the ground here and add another row. Now, other than some storage for bad water and for extract, there's nothing left to do but hit play and let them get to work. And there we go. That's now dynamite and extract being produced here in the bot district. Now, I've been doing a bit of cleaning up over this area here, as you can see. I've also switched all this storage from the beaver district to the bot district because this is where it's all getting used. Plus, it makes it easier and quicker for me to empty and delete all this storage. But I did notice a nifty little trick. If you've got only a gap between the path that you've destroyed, they'll actually share the load of all this rubble because both the beavers and the bots were coming up here grabbing stuff out of all this rubble. Don't know if that's a nifty little trick, something known. Nonetheless, that's now dynamite no longer being produced in the beavers district. Well, what's next? Well, in this area here, I'm going to start producing planks, gears, and treated planks. Basically all the things that you make out of wood. Day 1 of cycle 74, and that's all the lumber-based industry complete. Now, obviously, as needed, I'm going to start expanding the industry further and moving into this section here. So this is well and truly more production than I've had all series. So I think we're quite comfortable at the moment. And on top of all this, we now have 307 bots and 86 beavers. Not much of a drop in the beavers, but my word, that is a hell of a lot of bots. And I've been doing a lot of housekeeping. I got rid of all the storage and I've cleared all the terrain that was in the way. That's much better. Definitely a step in the right direction anyway. Now I get to get my trusty demolish tool out and start clearing some of this. So the dynamite factories can go, done. These barrels can go, these lumber mills can go, this gear factory can go, this wood workshop can go, and then all the platforms, this warehouse, these industrial storage piles, this warehouse, it can all go. Basically, all that's left is food production, the smelter, and then storage corresponding to these particular industry buildings. But they will also be moved here very soon. And then once they've moved, I can delete them, and that is all industry out of this area. Unfortunately, though, that will have to wait for another episode, as this is all the time we have for today. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.